one thing having a satellite pinging some info about what may be going on. There's another thing having actual live humans going. There's traffic jam here, guys.
And they had that fake go that way. Guy doing they had some guy doing fake hand signals for the deaf.
Oh, you mean that problem that they had with the lady doing the deaf thing that didn't know what she was talking about and couldn't even speak the deaf language?
The deaf language? Yeah.
Oh, that incident?
That was fake. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Here's another one. Henry VIII.
Right.
Supposed to be holding a piece of chicken. No.
I don't know.
But he's not. He's not holding the chicken anymore.
And he's not fat.
The chicken leg.
He was in his later life after his leg got hurt in a fall from a horse or something, and then he stopped dancing.
Okay, is that it? Are we good?
So yeah, Lost Art of Forehead Sweat is a great riff on the Mandela effect.
How does it work?
Done by the. Well, it starts off with a guy tracking down Mulder and Scully, who claims to be the third member of the X-Files. That never happened?
Oh.
The explosion on Challenger never happened?
What?
Is that what they're saying? Because I can't read that.
What are they saying about that? We're blowing it up. The second orbiter of NASA's spatial challenge exploded. However, oh yeah, exploding earlier. No, I remember when that exploded.
The last time I remember that the Challenger exploded in the air, not on the ground.
Yeah, well, this is anyway.
This
is wrong. I know it was in 1986.
I know it was in 1986 too.
I remember that day.
It was lunch.
I was living in Welland at the time. It was very cold that day. It was very sunny.
Steve Hardy had just killed my pet fly.
It was minus 25.
You had a pet fly?
Yeah, I used to do this thing where I'd I don't know if it was cruel, but I would make a little tiny lasso out of a piece of my hair, and then I would actually I would lasso a fly.
How do you lasso a fly?
No.
You just I used to do it all the time. I'm serious.
I was just telling somebody about that because Eddie Phelan used to do that in grade 9.
Oh yeah, I was the one in my school who did that. You make a little slip knot, like a little slip knot, and then you just sneak up on the fly, and then you pull. And
Yeah. And then it's flying around on your leash, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but wouldn't it kill itself after a while?
No.
Well, you let him go.
They appreciate it.
You cut off all but
they've been dying to be harnessed for useful human work for.
Yeah, if we can get enough flies together, we could actually power nothing really.
No, you could create your own. Tie a whole bunch to a lawn chair.
You can fly.
Right? Can you imagine the cloud of black above you?
Okay, I think we should wrap this up.
Yeah.
Daniel.
It'd be better to harness ants to pull your wheel.
Okay.
Daniel, this was great. Thanks for.
This was fun.
No problem.
It was fun.
It's sometimes fun to have
random guests.
It is. Well, you're anything but random.
I'm always here. I'm always here. One day of the week.
You're like guest on call. When we need somebody entertaining who can just sit down at a moment's notice and talk about all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. True enough.
Like the constellation Draco.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, we could have got into so many. Okay, let's wrap it up. I don't think we have any more guests. So
oh, okay.
We'll see you next time. I don't know. It was a full show and then nothing. Well, not nothing.
It's kind of sad.
Oh, it's good. We got to talk to Daniel.
We got to talk to Daniel. Yeah, and you're gonna watch Lost Art of Forehead Sweat.
Okay.
The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat?
Yeah, that's the name of the X-Files episode.
That's what it's called? Are you serious? What kind of name is that?
It makes actually a curious amount of sense when you watch the episode.
Okay, we're gonna take this conversation offline. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time. ThatChannel.com.
The Lost Art of Forehead Sweat? Really?
It's hilarious. It's like one of those classic.
In the WeChat, people pay mortgages, people take mortgages, people pay electricity, doctor's appointment. It's the same real economy out there.
I'm a torrential downpour.
Mayhem is everywhere, so get an Allstate
money
agent.
transaction, cryptocurrency transaction, going to be within the messenger. What most powerful I can see from my standpoint of view, like WeChat, for example, billion users, and every one of them have not $1 on their smart wallet. Some of them have thousands of dollars, and like a real bank, they're not sitting there. System, ecosystem, which is WeChat or Gem4Me in that case, we utilize that money by borrowing, but just do the real bank activity. That's what our next stage after market space is start the digital bank. Digital bank requires lots of work because it's supposed to be licensed in every country we go to.
Right.
We right now just get back to the just one step back for the messenger itself, how we develop and how we spread out investors wise. We already in 50 countries, and it's not only Eastern European, it's Canadian, Americans, Japanese, Korea, Indonesia, India, Malaysia. Now I'm on my way to Philippines in next 2 weeks. I just returned from Sri Lanka. That's what we do. We introduce the opportunity for the people, and that's why we call it, if you look at my card, it's called People's First Global Money Messengers, because it's only regular people with the small investment. It's for we have even ceiling for the investors into the Gem4Me, $100,000, not more than that. So we don't want anybody else control us.
So that's the limit. That's the most
That's
you
the
can
limit.
invest.
Yes, not to the don't mix up, not to the ICO, but to become a shareholder within the Gem4Me.
So tell me, as just a regular user with a smartphone, why do I need this new messenger?
Oh, it's a good question. It's a very nice, actual question. Why we spread towards the Southeast Asia, or in that case, in Latin America? Because majority of the people in those countries or region of the world never have access or never have opportunity to own the computer. Now, those remote areas, all of them have smartphones. And I'm not talking about Western economy, Western world. Everybody have a smartphone. Therefore, what's that smartphone represent? It's practically computer. But if it's computer with you all the time, why not use smartly or to use for your advantage?
Right.
Why not making money? Why not make a business within it? Buy, sell, and if you look at it, I always get back to the example of WeChat. It's very interesting video, and our viewers can take a look at it. It's called How China Changed the Internet, and specifically it's both produced video by New York Times in last year, and you can see what regular people can do with the smartphone within the WeChat messenger itself. Order any services, nobody carry cash anymore, nobody carry even credit cards anymore. Just a smartphone, buy hot dogs. If you talk to the Chinese people here or visitors from China, ask them what's WeChat. They said how you can live without WeChat, because average of the user in WeChat, my age at 50, 2-3 hours within every day they spend on the WeChat. What do they do? Some of them browsing, some of them dating, some of them organizing funerals, some of them ordering the trips, or regardless, they live there. That's how it will develop.
Because when we think about chats, or when I think about chats, it's just like texting messages to each other.
Now you can talk, you can utilize your voice, you can talk like
any level of communication.
Any level of communication, plus financial stuff. You have your money there, you have a wallet.
So it's included now, you're talking about a wallet is included with
That's it, yes.
And what else then? I'm just trying to get the whole picture here.
Whole picture is obviously we already kind of covered, or a little bit covered, market space, which is people can, and companies can be presented, can do the business on within the messenger, within the space. And
how does that work as a user? Say I'm not a company, I'm just a user of the service, but how do I get sold to? What is my experience?
Your experience, first of all, it's a cashback services, additional for the users. It's very significant. Everybody familiar with the cashback services, which is and services. Obviously, people go there. Not only for cashback services, as well as money transfer, for example. How easy to transfer the money from here to Australia, $20, or how too easy to control your children wallet. They can transfer easily to, they can give them the money, smartphone to smartphone. It's just within a split second, they have your money. And it is very convenient, and it's not it's just a dream, it's actually exists already, and so much rewards. Let's get back to the rich land. People now trading, and we send them a signal to buy, when to buy and when to sell. And quite a few clients of the, not clients, visitors of the crypto bay already use that service. It's service, pay service. It's about $285 subscription a month. And if you decided to trade, I'm not talking about professional traders who's doing this 24/7. They watch the bull markets and surrounded 15 monitors, and they working 24/7. No, we're just talking about many people try to take advantage of the cryptocurrency and that hype. They go into the market and they lose the money. And I'm not particularly, I'm an investor in the cryptocurrency, not big, but just a small guy. But at the same time, I can see how volatile market is, and I can foresee that volatility going on for a long time. $20,000 versus $10,000 drop at a few days. So it is it's very dangerous for me, from my standpoint of view. And I'd rather to invest into the structure, which is we built right here. Structure which is not so much affected by the volatility yet. And it's saying like what I'd rather to be a client of the bank or own the bank. Client of this trader on the floor, or to be the part of the ownership of a stock exchange. It's investment wise, it's also much stable, and it's when we're going to sell, we're going to sell big. So $12 billion is not the limit, it's a conservative number. That's what we'd like to sell. Totally, we issued 4 million shares, and all of them out, only 330,000. They just look at meter right here, 339,797 shares left, which is represents 6.5–7%. So rest of the shares been sold, and people see the huge potential.
And what is the minimum amount?
Well, we have a package. We have packages. Yeah. Packages. This number, I guess.
So yeah, I see here on you got a one pager. Does this kind of explain the whole project in one page?
It's one page only for ICO.
I see.
For ICO.
So that's for investors.
For investors into the ICO, into the services, not investors to the two kind of investors. And I invited here to this is the individual who behind the project, as well as yeah. Yeah, it's we in euros. You look at the Russian names.
I'm just noticing Olga Finkel. She's on the team.
You know her?
No.
Okay. Where does Finkel come from?
Short for Finkelstein?
Yeah, Stein was dropped because she moved to Malta. She's in Malta now. So roadmap, if you will, so we can see that's where we're moving to or where we come from, and it's numbers and how we're developing and where we're going to be.
ICO relate to the Gem for Me
Messenger. Gem for Me needed money to complete the application, to complete the development
Yeah.
and promote.
Yeah. Marketing.
Promotion and marketing. It's humongous numbers of money. 2015.
Yeah, right. So, okay, so you
They
need
need
to
the
raise money, so you did an ICO, or you're doing an ICO, and the people who invest in the ICO, they get a token?
That's right. That's what they get the token for.
But,
And
but it's not, is that the Gemmy coin?
Gemmy coin.
They get that. That's the
right.
ICO. So they're
That's
buying Gemmy coins.
It's correct.
And then the Gemmy transactions within the Gem
Within
for Me
the Gem
system,
for Me, it's correct.
I see. So there's going to be a likelihood that those coins could
Grow.
potentially go up in value as well. And you said, what, a total of 7 billion Gemmy coins will ever be created?
Which not going to be destroyed? They're going to be destroyed. Obviously, it's if we're not going to sell our tokens, they're going to be destroyed at the end of the ICO, which is
So in other words,
October 15th.
there could be less than 7 billion.
It could be less.
I see. Okay. And I mean, everyone out there who's watching this, who's got a smartphone, should be using Gem for Me.
Obviously, download, please. It's available for users.
It's a free download.
A free download, like everything else, and communicate with your friends and family.
Yeah. Now, can you only communicate them if they also have the Gem for Me app?
That's right. Yeah, it's like anything else. WhatsApp, communicate within the WhatsApp ecosystem,
Okay.
and so on.
And why is it called Gem for Me?
Well, it is a question not to me. It's probably behind it. That was good name. Like
Yeah.
I don't have no idea. I come to the company. I am investing in the company. I don't have an explanation why it's Gem for Me, and for me it's fine.
Yeah.
At this moment, not really, but it's okay for now.
Okay.
Owner can decide, or new owner can decide if they want to stick with this name or not. But not least, it's just you asked me about the price per share.
Yeah.
And per packages. It's a package of 18 shares. It's at 1,215 operate in euros because we are located in Malta and we operate in euros. Premium Plus package, it's 2,430 euros, which represent 36 shares. And investment package, we call euros, which is 54 shares. And everybody can do the math, what we expecting to get for that. I don't want to speculate on it, but number of 3,000 at least we're going to sell this company for.
Okay. So now, Vasily, okay, let's. Is there anything else you want to just let people know about before we wrap up here that maybe we haven't touched on?
Yeah, just call me, email me, and we can go over the process to register you, to open the business center, as well as we walk you through the process, how it works, how you register shares, how you go to the verification process. It's not just a simple process, simple procedures. You need to go through the originated from, where's the money come from, and so on. So it's
To know your client.
That's it. Yeah, and as well as register on the shareholders registry, and you can see name and you can see your shares as well as on your business center. And if it's right now, it's just even with ICO, they pay the partners commission to invite people to participate in ICO. And I just received the latest data right here. It's amount more than 3,000, amount more than $5,000, 15%, which is a good significant cash flow for the people who can invite the institutions. Right now it's time only for the big investment funds, and P as Peter, V as Victory, and I as in India, and Canada at yahoo.ca.
Okay, PVI Canada. All right, Vasily. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry for.
No, it's okay. We had.
Present myself, kind of jump from one place.
Well,
to
we had lots of time, and obviously there's lots to go over. So.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's 3 years of hard work and lots to cover. What need to be covered in order for the individual know the project inside out.
But people can find out more just by emailing you, and you can sit down with them and go over in detail. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming here. We got the dog, and we have Daryl, and we have Ron Greener and Syed coming on the show next, and then we got Eleanor coming on later. Mood mend. Mend your mood.
Mend your mood.
Daryl?
There you go.
Know what I'm saying?
I'm ready.
Okay. I'm ready too. We'll be right back here at ThatChannel.com.
Because they finally accepted that they could. No, he was healthy.
He is acting cool about it. He's acting very, very Robert the Niro-ish about it.
Yeah, he realized he's never gonna win her love, so he just gave up on it.
No, actually, he realizes that there is a chance again.
There is a chance again, but he's not going to take it. What he has seen in life.
But wait, what happened? Was he psycho?
Yeah.
Psycho, but then he got rewarded for psychotic.
Yes,
he
did.
Right?
PTSD.
So, this is the whole thing.
He probably had a mental illness too.
The philosophy of the bad, the villain, started from here. And a lot of people happened all over the world. In India, you had Amitabh Bachchan and Shatrughan Sinha becoming heroes, and you had Vinod Khanna becoming a hero, and even here, the entire trend, the bad man, the negative hero.
Anti-hero, is that the same thing?
Anti-hero.
Anti-hero, the negative hero. I think this was the first film which had the negative hero syndrome starting.
It's not a negative.
A lot of things about Taxi Driver just happened, you know, like they were going to shoot this film first in Los Angeles and San Francisco, and then they realized that they don't have that kind of cabs to shoot to New York, and then New York's dirt and garbage and all that, you know,
you could see Brooklyn.
Yeah, it helped them, so they created that. They shot there. It was Martin Scorsese's second film. His first film was 1973. His first film was I don't know. I've got it somewhere. 1 second. What was his first film?
Just curious.
That first film was not a very famous
He did
film.
a lot of documentaries before this.
He made first film Mean Streets. But this film brought him. He became the god of Hollywood after this. Robert De Niro became Robert De Niro.
This movie made him?
Yeah, and
he was in Mean Streets too, though.
Yes, and
it's almost like he was Scorsese's.
Yes, and he was when the shooting of this film was happening. Robert De Niro for another film, Michelangelo Antonio's film. Again, we haven't seen Antonio's film, The Passenger, which is a superb film again, made a year before this. Again, neo-realism and things like that. But Robert De Niro was shooting 5 days a week in Rome for Antonio, and on Saturday, Sunday, he used to come to New York to shoot this film. So very interesting. But again, the film was the first film which had Vietnam. It had just happened, so the effect it was having on people, it was
needless to say.
And while in an R rating, and it was given an R rating only after Martin Scorsese saturated the colors of the end.
Oh, right, yeah.
So that the color of blood changed. So you see in the end, he has tried to print.
I think this is the original. I seen a version where the blood was green at the end.
Unfortunately, by the time times changed, they could not desaturate the print anymore because the original negative was lost, were destroyed. So they are stuck with the saturated. Actually, Martin Scorsese at a certain later on, he said that after saturating the print, the film actually started looking better, and it never changed the direction. As I told you earlier,
music is very edgy.
He was influenced by Godard's film. Then he can make Taxi Driver.
One connection you can just draw the line directly to Breathless is in both films, extremely talkative. Non-stop talking. It's just the banter, ongoing banter, just kept going on. I think that's right there the biggest inspiration Scorsese took from Breathless. Just the non-stop dialogue.
Yeah, Driver visually more powerful than Breathless. I think he has. There is talk. Has his visual narrative
is debatable.
B-roll, his montage,
very strong.
But it's not as fast paced as Breathless.
Yes.
Breathless had more cuts.
Breathless was very fast.
yeah, jump cuts.
What about you, Sataki? What are your impressions?
I haven't seen the last movie, The
Driver.
Yeah, this one is also amazing. Especially how life changes and how life changes in a city based on the circumstances and everything. It has been captured very, very well, because this is to some extent what you said is the main protagonist as a villain and negative character, and he becomes a hero. But yeah, that's but before this, I don't think there was any sort of kind of a movie where the main character is being portrayed as a real character. It's a real character. It's not a negative character. Because I felt it was very close to what we go through in daily lives, right? So that was like very inspiring. Yeah.
But not here. But in places like India, negative characters had come before. Films like Bandini had been made. Films like Devdas had been made. So there have been negative characters who were shown in a positive, negative characters. But here, an obviously negative character throughout is actually become the hero of the film, but not really.
But was this exactly a negative character? Or was
I think he's a negative character, but he had very good intentions.
Yes.
I think his intentions were good.
Then how does it become an out-and-out negative character?
No, he doesn't.
No, he's not a fully out-and-out. He's a complex
Negative.
character.
It's a grey, complex.
Grey area.
Grey shade character.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just trying to think about the character, if he's positive or negative, and because he's psycho. He is psycho.
Psycho.
Yeah,
A little bit
sociopathic.
psycho, and he's taking the law into his own hands.
Playing with the law.
In a way, I think that's kind of actually a reflection of the U.S. culture at the time. It was coming to looking at itself with the high crime and the dirty streets and you know, the whatever, the hippie immorality you want to call it. Like it's like, what do we do about it? Because nobody else seems to be doing anything. Let's take the law into our own hands. Let's be a vigilante, and it's just funny. It's kind of funny how he does all that, and he actually gets away with it as a hero.
Yes.
But prior to that, to me, he's a dangerous character.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is. He is.
Hugh, would you say like that time period, that 70s, is like it's after the 60s and like the 70s, like that's the time where...
Well, the counterculture really started in the 50s.
You think 50s?
With the beatniks, the beatniks, right? The jazz, the beat culture, and then the hippies grew out of that in the 60s.
But that was more like positivity, good stuff, and then...
It was counter the culture. It was anti the established culture, anti the... Because prior to that, everybody was like... I mean, in a way, it was all part of... and everyone was a participant in the culture. And so the counterculture was I mean, even today, one can wonder whether it was a good thing or not that this counterculture came about. I mean, I think it's good for the culture to reflect on itself periodically. But when you throw out, I'm not sure how constructive or positive that is.
But again, as you say, Taxi Driver was a film which portrayed its time. It was a film which had the pulse of the entire American audience at that moment of time, with the Vietnam War happening, and you know, the entire generation was so shaken by war and the culture, like I said, the the prostitution which was happening, the
pornography,
illegal, everything was illegal, and there was a lot of crime on the streets.
You know, I was just thinking about something that, you know, because prostitution, all those things, but I think part of it is, and this is like a media analysis, but with television, really television came into its, television had only been around really 50s, 60s, 70s, right? So we're only 2 or 3 decades into television culture. Television contained all of society within the television. Everything had to be, unless it was on TV, it wasn't real. So in a sense, it was a mirror held up to kind of get used. It had to have everything transposed into the television framework in order to see itself.
Yes.
Right. So even though those things had never existed before, now they were on you know, in the 50s and 60s, Leave It to Beaver, they ignored that dark underbelly of society that had always been there, but it wasn't on TV. So society looking in the mirror didn't see it. So only I didn't see it.
Yes.
Do you know what show?
Well,
but
what was happening? What were the characters' names?
Did you think the
it was like a man and a woman.
The marriage, the girl was telling them,
like, do you love me or something like that?
Yes.
racist undertones?
Oh,
Not
no,
the character necessarily, but then there was racist undertones?
No, that's the period at the time. I mean, there was no filter at the time. Like those things were acceptable. I mean, we live in a much more sensitive society. That those days are not as sensitive.
No, negative connotations at that time.
Racist and homophobic.
Yeah.
You know, and that.
He did a pretty accurate portrayal of PTSD at a time when the word wasn't even invented. PTSD is a recent phenomenon after the Iraq War, and that's how they've come up with the word. But I think his portrayal of a war vet after the Vietnam War, and probably his mental state was because of the PTSD, assuming. I think it was a pretty spot on portrayal.
Yeah. What about you, Sandeep? You have not said anything.
No, I was very much in the music. The music was very edgy. It kept you hooked, like something's going to happen now, or he's going to do something. Like when he's going to his intention to kill the assassinate the president, the elect, the candidate. Like, oh, something will happen. The music was very nice. I like the music.
It reminded me of Parinda's music for some reason.
By the way, that the assassin Hawkins or whatever his name was, much later when he attempted to kill Reagan, he said that he had been inspired by Taxi Driver, and that's on record. So you know, this film did inspire an assassination on President of America. So, yeah, what were we talking about else? What else?
You noticed? Go ahead.
The presentation was just like, if you can say, connected to today Anurag Kashyap movie. I think it is almost the same. The kind of lighting, the kind of camera movement, or it's like, it looks like, yeah, Anurag Kashyap is also inspired by him.
See, that neorealism style had not happened in America. America was still with all the stage and drama and, you know, the romances and the westerns. This was again the first film of that time which portrayed the reality of its times, which was again something very new. So it actually brought that kind of neorealism into American cinema. That was again a very big thing for this film to do. It became a cult film. And people, it's one of the 10 top American films ever made. It's a remarkable achievement for any film.
There's many references, like look at Senator Palpatine, right? And then the main antagonist in that movie was Senator Palpatine.
Oh,
you see that connection? I don't know, that made me think of that. And then also even I think Scorsese, I think he broke Hitchcock's rule where Scorsese, you know, he had two cameos.
Yes.
How did they shoot all that at night? Like, did they use lights?
They must have used some lights,
they use carbon vapor lights.
But this is what I'm telling you. This is what he realized, that he can shoot in low light. You know, of course, Godard his cameraman Ralph had actually physically taken low light film and spliced them together and used the Camflex cameras to shoot. He didn't. But remember, it was nearly 11 years later that he made Taxi. At that time, low light films had started being manufactured, produced. So it was more easier.
Because a few years back, Godfather.
It was more easier to shoot, without lights and available lights, and he used that. So it was very daring. It was very daring to make a mainstream film with these kind of things, and it worked. So whatever works, then is imitated by the people.
I noticed that the director of photography, Michael Chapman, was the cameraman for Godfather.
Really?
Yeah, so he learned from that. Like, Godfather was really first to pioneer that low light technique in American cinema, and then the DOP, Gordon Willis, and learned from him. and then he became the director of photography for this film, and then he just continued that
There's a
tradition.
bunch of Italians doing things together, right?
No, he's not Italian.
No?
Michael Chapman, no.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he is.
Since you people are so interested in cinema and we have done so much work, unfortunately we have not been able to see it, but just a year before this film was released, came another very big film, again a masterpiece by Michelangelo Antonio from France, and he had made The Passenger.
The Passenger?
The Passengers,
Okay.
which again is a superb film. If you can watch it, you must watch it. The first film where a set was constructed just to shoot one scene, and it's the last shot of that film. Technically not the last shot, there is a last shot, but the last shot of this film, of that film, is about 8 minutes long, and it's a brilliant shot. It's a brilliant shot, but the entire taking of that film itself and its narrative style is very good.
So, Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson.
Okay.
Jack Nicholson. Thank you very much. Then we have one more week, and next week, and we see the great Tarantino's first film, which he wrote he wrote in 10 or 12 days, I think, this film, and it's the new maestro of cinema, and his film Pulp Fiction.
Ah, good.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, you, and thank you very much, all three of you. Where is this guy disappear? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Peter Ross, and welcome back to Raw, Natural Born Artists. And today, we have
I was filling kilns and making glazes,
Right.
and they couldn't get rid of me after that, really.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
just there forever.
Great, great. So when you come from, how does it help when you are? I mean, it's a kind of an obvious question, but how does it help when you come from a family that has a strong tradition in art? How does that help?
Having the support, really, like actually not having to worry about telling your parents, I want to go to art school, actually having them like support you, like they come to my shows, my biggest fans, and it makes all the difference having home support.
Yeah. Definitely. If I think it was kind of decided for you in your crib that you were going to be.
Probably.
I think it was kind of decided for you, because they were already doing it.
And by the time I could pick up a pen, anyways, like I've been scribbling on things. And it's always doodling in my notebooks, stuff like that.
Right.
So
let's take a look at some of your work here. This is beautiful.
So this is some of my more recent work that I did at NASCAD. This was for a class I was in for Art at the Table with Joan Bruneau. And so I was playing with the historical, and so these were based off some old English, they're like these stands, and they have goblets in them, and they're just so ornate and over the top.
Wow.
And so I'm really inspired by just like putting everything on one thing, and that kind of just like gluttony kind of thing, and it's just really full. And
so you talked about NASCAD. Can you tell our viewers what NASCAD is?
Yeah, so NASCAD is the Nova Scotia College of Art and Design. So it's out in Nova Scotia, and so they have a lot of craft programs. They're one of the only ones with an MFA program in Canada.
And that is
that's like for Masters of Fine Arts. And so they offer a lot of craft programs over there, and it's
great. Yeah, it's interesting. And wow, this piece is beautiful.
This is my kind of starting with the wall installation piece. It's kind of like started me getting off of those the more historical pots and going more intuitive and getting a little more personal and trying out the wall. So these were based off of some like drawings that I had done, and it was all about trying to get like the 2D into the 3D.
Oh, okay, yes, to make it three-dimensional, yes, right.
And and it's kind of like, instead of just like writing down like this is sad, kind of doing expressing emotions through like color and texture and composition.
Right.
So like it's kind of all the things like between the words you can't really explain.
Right.
So try to, because it's thing like you automatically start kind of talking with your hands, so I tried to translate it with my hands.
Yes. And this one looks like that one. Let's go back to the last one. That one looks like it's a fish, right?
It's actually a woman.
It's a woman. Oh,
so if you look, it's on their side, and it's a hand like this. So it's like this.
Ah, yes. Okay. So yes, you can see the mouth of the woman, the nose.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay. And what is this? What did you mean to say with this? This is very interesting. What did you mean to say with this piece?
Well, it's called Blues, and it